Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, where we unravel the hidden stories behind our everyday world. Ever wondered why the price of a new car, a t-shirt, or even your phone seems to be on a roller coaster? The answer lies in a massive global tug-of-war, a complex dance of international trade agreements, tariffs, and shifting politics. Today, we're diving deep into this dynamic world to understand the forces reshaping global commerce right now. Let's start with a word you've probably heard a lot: tariffs. Think of a tariff as an entry fee, a tax that a country slaps on goods coming in from another nation. And recently, especially in early 2025, we've seen a major comeback of this strategy, a return to what's called protectionism. The United States, for example, announced a series of tariff hikes, with some goods from China facing a staggering 125% increase. Sectors like steel and aluminum have been hit with a 25% tariff on imports into the US. But what does this actually mean for you and me? First, it means higher prices. That tariff, that tax, usually gets passed directly on to consumers. So the cost of everything from cars to clothes goes up, fueling inflation. Second, it can slow down the entire global economy. When businesses face uncertainty and higher costs, they often delay big investments. And when our money doesn't go as far, we buy less. Research from firms like JP Morgan and Yale's Budget Lab suggests that these widespread tariffs could actually shrink the global and US economies. And this isn't a game with one player. When one country imposes tariffs, others often retaliate. China, for instance, has hit back with its own tariffs on US imports. This can escalate into a full-blown trade war, creating a cycle of rising barriers that chokes global trade. It's important to remember that about 2/3 of international trade still happens without any tariffs thanks to existing agreements. But where tariffs do exist, they can be incredibly high, especially in agriculture and textiles, making it harder for developing countries to compete. But tariffs are only half the story. The other powerful force is the shifting geopolitical landscape. The world stage is seeing more conflict and tension, which led to over 3,000 new trade restrictions being imposed in 2024 alone. Major economies are now viewing trade through a political lens. We've seen the US shift trade away from China and towards allies like Mexico and Vietnam. Europe has drastically reduced its trade with Russia. This strategy is often called friendshoring, trading with your friends. Interestingly, 2024 also saw a bit of a reversal, with smart companies realizing that putting all their eggs in one friendly basket is still risky. So they began diversifying their trade networks across multiple regions to stay resilient. As direct trade between rivals like the US and China decreases, we're seeing the rise of connector countries. Trade gets cleverly rerouted through a third-party nation, like a detour on a highway. The direct link is weaker, but the goods still flow, just with more complexity and cost. All this tension disrupts what we call global value chains. Think about the microchips in your electronics. Geopolitical tensions around Taiwan, a major semiconductor hub, can impact the availability and cost of nearly every piece of tech we use. So how do we navigate this new, more fragmented world? The key words are resilience and diversification. Businesses are scrambling to build supply chains that aren't dependent on a single country. They're conducting intense risk assessments and trying to stay adaptable. Despite the trend towards protectionism, international cooperation remains crucial. A completely fragmented world economy is bad for everyone's long-term growth. So the economics of international trade are at a critical crossroads. We have tariffs acting as economic weapons, while geopolitical rivalries are redrawing the map of global alliances. The next time you pick up a product, remember the invisible, complex web of power, politics, and policy that brought it to your hands. Thanks for tuning in to G Fun Facts Online.